Hey solar family, we are tuning in today again with the rainbows in the car. I just got this really fly kimono when I was in LA this last weekend at this indigenous owned vintage cultural artifacts store, and it's actually, it's got a rainbow on it. It says aloha, and I think it was like previously a sack for like holding rice or something. And I don't know, the energy, and it just feels really good. And yeah, I feel a lot of like beautiful ancestral presence in the field right now, and just a lot of really good new fresh energy. And it's been put on my heart today to share more on how I have come into this new and fresh energy over this last year. I think the year of the snake called all of us to shed and release and heal certain things that we're no longer serving and cannot come with us into this next cycle. This bird is like pretty consistent. I hope that it's not irritating. I've heard that hearing the chirping of a bird can be soothing for the nervous system, because if a bird is singing, that means there's not like predators around, and so your system naturally kind of rests. But it is like this really high pitched, like consistent thing. But yeah. So much has been moving and unearthing in the collective, and I can definitely speak for my own life in this last year, and it's been really intense at times. And a lot of the changes that I made came from this deep inner desire for stability, and how to create more inner stability, and also a desire to come fully home to myself and call any parts of myself that were given to others or merged with others or put into pots, people or places that I don't want to be connected to anymore. This big, massive reclamation happened. And a huge part of how that has happened is through abstinence. And this is something I've spoken to before, and I really want to share like direct firsthand how powerful and necessary and healing this experience has been for me, because the attack of our sexual energy and the harvesting of our sexual energy collectively, I believe, is the number one way that we are sourced from malevolently, drained, siphoned, and disconnected and cut off from our creator and our creative source that lives within us. And also, you know, the pure source channel, like it connects in at our sacral, which is also the epicenter of our sexual energy. And if you look at the ways that the feminine is really attacked on this planet, it's so often, as I spoke in my last video, around vanity, us being obsessive and consumed with how elevated our sexual appeal is, because of this belief that that is wherein our worth lies. And for men, it's been objectifying women's bodies, taking claim to women's bodies, possessing women's bodies, because of that disconnect within themselves inherently to Mother God and Source Creator and the creative life force of the feminine that lives with them. So possessing that and like colonizing the body of a woman in order to source that, and objectifying it just in the way that, again, we've had, you know, our Mother Earth, our planet has been extracted from and used for resources. And so this has created this massive rupture in healthy and harmonious union and relationship between men and women, and also it's corrupted our relationship with ourselves and distorted our relationship with our own bodies and our own sexual energy, as though it is some sort of currency for profit or gain, for lobbying profit or gain, whether that's in our desired field of creation or just in any area of our life, to achieve a woman or a relationship or a house or a job or stature, anything of the like. And all of that is is a manipulative attempt to control our reality. And if we were to just control our sexual energy and hold that and listen and trust to where, because the reality is that is a gift that is given to us from God. We actually don't have ownership to that. That doesn't belong just to us. And when you merge with another, especially in marriage, it is biblical that you become one with this other person through sexual intercourse. And a man and a wife through sex, that's how you become one with another person. And so when you become one with another, your body is not your own anymore. It is also theirs. And their body is not their own anymore. It is also yours. And so in a holy covenant, this is a really beautiful thing, but merging willy-nilly with strangers that we just met last week, this is really dangerous, and it causes so much suffering and confusion. And I have firsthand experienced this. I have watched so many of my loved ones go through repeated cycles of how this causes harm and rupture in one's destiny, timeline, and path. And the normalization of this, the normalization of sleeping with somebody that you just met, or even that you feel a strong spiritual connection with, the new age belief that, oh, this is expansive for me to share my energy with all these people in these ways, and for me to relate with as many people as possible and pick up their codes, get their codes over here. If I plug into this womb grid, I'm gonna get her codes. It's maybe, but you're also gonna get all of that unprocessed pain, all of that unprocessed trauma. We need to be really careful, because I think that sexual alchemy is a real and beautiful thing, and sexual healing is a real and beautiful thing, but we are not at capacity to be doing that for any and everybody. We are responsible for doing that in our own life, our own body, our own womb, our own lineage, and then with the person that God has inscripted in the book of law, in the book of heaven, who has been appointed and anointed for us. Because just like we come into this life with an instruction set, a blueprint of okay, this is the work that I'm going to take on, this is the work that I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to be at capacity to handle in this life, when it's also written into our destiny to link up with another human being and merge in that way, there's an agreement of okay, this is what we're going to do. But when we start to merge with all of these other people in the web, all of a sudden now we're taking on way too much. Our nervous systems cannot handle that. Our body systems cannot handle that. And as women who have these wombs, these stargates to the spirit realm, we're passing over all of this energy, again, that's not being processed maybe by men. And it's another reason that I think men are so sexually addicted to women, is because it's we're taking all this weight off their back, but also a lot of women aren't consciously passing that energy over, and then it's getting stuck in our wombs. And it's just crazy to watch this shit go down, because it's we could be, like I said, really creating real impact in this world. In my last video, we could be creating real change in this world, but if we are tied up in all these binds and strongholds through sex that we've had with people that are not building in covenant with us, that are not selected to co-create a mission with and nurture a mission with, that's going to become its own alchemical vortex. If we're not doing that, then we're wasting so much life force. We're wasting so much of our precious life force and our time that could be going to really ending war, really ending world hunger, really giving back to the land and planting seeds and gardening and growing food and just cleaning this shit up, because that's what we're here for. We came down here on a mission to help and serve this planet that we are so in love with, but we're getting distracted because now we're processing all of this, addiction that I picked up when I plugged into this dude, or when he plugged into me, and his unprocessed addiction, from his unprocessed grief, from whatever his unprocessed trauma was, you know, or a woman that he was with recently, and all of her shit now, her jealousy, her insecurity, her lack of direction and purpose. And now all of a sudden I'm like, why am I feeling so thrown off my center? Oh, I'm getting jealous now, I'm getting insecure, and all of a sudden you see how we're in this grid, we're sucked into this web, and we're pulled out of this super crystalline, pure channel of just like clarity of like being one with the source. We're in this like chaos storm of sexual energy flying around everywhere, and we don't deserve that, and we don't have to live like that, and we're not meant to live like that. It is not normal. It is not normal to sleep around casually with people, and I don't even think it's normal to sleep around with people because you have a strong connection with them spiritually. I think co-creation, collaboration, the sharing of sexual energy through breath maybe, and tantric practices of meditation, like there's so much of this distortion comes from these like inverted Egyptian timelines too, where these like womb priestesses are saying, oh, you know, yeah, like we're here to do this temple work, but it's like that's not what was happening in these temples. These initiates, first of all, were taking years and years and years of just learning how to move breath through their body consciously before they ever started to share energy with each other. And when they did, they were sharing breath. Magdalene and Yeshua, there's this really beautiful channeling Mary Magdalene gives through this other oracle, Kaira, who wrote the Sophia Codes. If you've ever read it, it's really powerful. It's about the stories. It's about the testimonies and stories of all of the, you know, Yeshua was a fully embodied masculine incarnate who walked the planet along with Buddha, along with Babaji. But there are feminine archetypes who have also walked fully embodied, such as the Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, such as Isis, her counterpartner Osiris, Kuan Yin. And so the lives of these women, this is the book that she channeled. Check it out if you haven't. It's really potent. Brings in more of the feminine story of her story, not just history. And anyway, in this channeling, Mary Magdalene says, you know, there's this woman who's leading the podcast, and she asks, like, so tell us more about the tantric relationship between Christ and Magdalene. And she kind of laughs. She's like, man, you guys always make everything, you humans make everything so sexual. It's like, it's not that sexual. She's like, we were, first of all, in a constant state of lovemaking because we had our dragon light bodies woven together at all times. We would sit and meditate, and we were always merging in the spirit, always one in the spirit and connecting to that. And we could just be sitting in a meditative posture side by side, and we were one in that way. It doesn't always have to be this like super, like to be penetrated by somebody, to even kiss somebody. We share and activate hormonally information that makes you feel like the person that you just kissed, that was inside of you and you were inside of them, that's your mate. You feel chemically bonded to them just from a kiss. Then to take in their semen, oh my God, that never leaves your body. And to merge with them fully, like I feel myself like because I'm so sensitive again now. I wasn't always this way, because I was also programmed by pornography. I was also had my innocence stolen from me by our society. I was also taught that my worth lied in sexual gratification from men and sexual performance in the bedroom. And I learned by watching pornography how to be performative in the bedroom, how to look, how to act, how to sound, what men wanted, and that I was born to please them. And it has taken me lifetimes to come out of that. And truly, like, when you call your sexual energy back and you enter into that like repurification process, and you know, the only man giving you like validation in your life is the Christ, and listening to that and feeling your worthiness that is just inherent because you exist, not because you suck a good you know, it's like, wow, none of that matters. And that's not what any of that is for. That is for potent creation magic, the building of worlds, the building of new worlds, the building of universes, the building of new life, of a child. And all that child, for the divine child to come forward from that holy union. But when we desecrate the sacredness of that, because we make it casual, when we puncture the sanctification of that container, it's really, really detrimental to our mana, to our energy, to our peace, to our chi, to our connection to God, and to our connection to our ultimate beloved. Because, I've been being initiated by my inner king for, probably my whole life now, but I've been able to hear it more and more in the spirit as I've cleared all the old energies of past relations from my body and my life. And he's told me, I literally cannot, frequency wise, be a match for you vibrationally. I cannot come into your life when you are still so interwebbed with these lower versions and expressions of me and yourself. And that's just the reality of what it is when we bring people in casually, or before it's been made very, very clear in the spirit that this person is for you on God. And it really takes time. It really takes time to know that that's true. And there are so many freaking voices of deception, even coming from ourselves, the way we manipulate ourselves to think and believe, oh no, this is something really spiritual. I've been caught up in that illusion of oh, there's all these synchronicities around this person, and I feel this crazy activation with them, and wow, there's something really deep here. But it's let all that settle. What is meant to be will continue to reorbit, will continue to come back around, will continue to reveal itself to you, and it will not pressure you to give that up to be yours. What is yours on God, and there is nothing that you have to transact or give or exchange to keep that thing. And in fact, when you do feel the need to do something like that to lock somebody in, that's more what I see the feminine doing, is oh, I'm gonna lock this man in and make him addicted to me sexually so I can have him. And that's the manipulative shadow feminine, or men just I'm just gonna get this from a woman instead of cultivate this own connection to my inner feminine. It's super fragmenting, and it takes us away from our own inner wholeness. And again, that inner wholeness is the thing that magnetizes our true union, and we can't come into that for so long as we are this, I guess what I'll say again is fragmented. So if you're hearing this message, this is likely a call for you and an invitation. And I just want to share how beautiful it's been for me to be in my own energy like this. I'm a very sexual person. I have a lot of sexual energy. I have a lot of yearning and, deep sensation coursing through my body at all times of the day that I could easily interpret as a need or lust. But when I reframe my perception and just say, oh wow, my sexual energy is activated right now, I get to move this healing energy through my body, and I get to circuit this throughout my day and emanate and ripple this massively magnetic energy, and I get to put that into my music, into my lyrics, into my poetry, into my dance, and I get to just emanate this frequency of love and love that I have for creation, because that's really what it is in such a pure essence. And when I'm not being manipulative with that, and I'm not trying to force and control outcomes or relationships or attract certain opportunities, I'm just existing in that. I'm effortlessly pulling in the right things that are meant for me, and I'm relaxed, and so those things don't get repelled. They stay if they're meant to stay, and they go if they're meant to go, because they know that they can't exist in that frequency of my purity, or they can, and they're a match for that. So much time reclaimed, so much energy, so much purity, so much innocence, so much clarity in my communion and my channel with God, and just this constant state of really good feeling. When I go to bed, I just have so much peace at the night when I sleep, not worrying about what anyone's doing or if they're meant for me, or my energy's not getting pulled around constantly, and I'm not just in this because people think oh, I need to get this need met, I have this sexual needs, and then they get it met, but they want more, because you're not actually getting a need met. You're feeding this hungry ghost entity inside of you that is just begging for your love, and you keep giving it junk food and snacks from other people, and you're not giving it the nourishment it actually needs. But if you were to give that to yourself, you're not actually gonna have those lustful and enslaved urges from this lower place in you. And that's what men are taught, and that's how it's normalized. All these collective narratives are all, I have these needs, and oh, she's not here, well, I gotta get my needs met. It's no, your need is to be connected to creation, to love, and to yourself at all times. And you outsourcing that is actually keeping you from your need. This is a want, and this is a lower frequency want. This is a lower level desire, and I'm not trying to shame that, but like, we need to like be real about what it actually is, because this lying to ourselves and this accepting this narrative that's been fed to us by extremely demonic antichrist forces to attack our sexual energy as a species and ultimately disconnect us from our source connection, like, no more of that. That cannot persist. That cannot come into this next wave. And the union template that I am being shown, like, this is a non-negotiable. Like, you enter into the kingdom of heaven abstinent. Like, I really feel that. And some people come together in their unions before doing this work, maybe, sure, but I can guarantee you at some point in that relationship, there's going to be an ask to have to separate, and they're just going to have to hold their own energy and be in their own energy and give themselves that love. So it's like, if you're alone right now, take this opportunity and just do that work with yourself and anchor in that connection so strongly, because that will never leave you and it will always serve you. And get a grip, like, get a grip on this shit truly, so it doesn't run your life and own you and have you in this bind, this spiritual bind and stronghold, and have you feeling weak and enslaved. Because I will say that this is the number one downfall that I have seen of every great man in my life or that I have ever loved, is their enslavement to their lust and their sexual desire. And it stems from a deep fragmentation of source, creator, of God, of goddess, and a yearning to be one with the mother and one with their own inner feminine. So if you can just fast track to that and quit the outsourcing of the feminine, and then the microcosm, if everybody took that responsibility, again, back to my last video, like, we would probably stop extracting from the planet in the way we are at large. Our relationships would become a lot more mutually nourishing and less draining, dismantling and distracting, but truly like these overflowing chalices of the Holy Grail. That's what true love is. And it's just this like emanation of love and abundance just overflowing into your lives and the lives of everyone around you in your community. And like, that's how we really lock in super abundance, like, universally and on this planet. And that's what's needed right now. So yeah, this is an invitation. And truly, like, if you've been trying to find your person, but you feel like, oh, I'm trying here, I'm trying there, it's just not working out, and you haven't cleaned up your energy field and come back to yourself and called your energy back, like, you are probably repelling your true beloved and not able to be a match for them because of this. And I can really guarantee you, like, I am connected to a force of the feminine that is so much bigger than me. And I can tell you truly, like, this level of relationship, this level of union that I think most people are yearning and wanting, that is like really something holy. This is a requirement for your frequency to be purified in the Christ in this way, and for you to access like this point of inner salvation and saving yourself, saving your seed, saving your chi, saving your energy, because you know how potent it is. That's the other thing. When you know how powerful this energy is, you don't give it away like that. When you know how powerful you truly are and can be, you hold differently. You don't cast your pearls to swine. And obviously, if you have a compassionate and loving heart and you see the God in everything and the good in everything, it doesn't feel like that. But like, truly wait until somebody shows you that they can hold you and that they can care for you in the hard times, and that they deserve you. Because not everybody deserves you. Everybody deserves love, yes. And God will give that love to everybody, but not everybody deserves you. Especially if you've been doing this work. Especially if you know that your womb is something holy and healed and has the power to heal this world through its living prayer and emanation of these codes of the Christed feminine, like, period. So yeah, that's my message today, and I hope this reaches the ears of whoever's meant to hear it, and that this is also, received without like judgment of like, I'm not better than anybody because I've taken this walk when I did. There's people that took this walk before me and who will take it after, and I have fallen so many times from grace, and like, that is what drove me to ultimately be desperate enough to do something like this for myself. And so if you have been making decisions that aren't in your highest and best, like, repent, which means to change your ways and do something differently, and ask for strength in the spirit. This is what Christ has overcome the world for, so that we can access that power to overcome within our own selves, because that Christ codex lives within us now, and we're reactivating it when we do things like this, to live in devotion and say, I'm choosing, this path of purity, and this purity sets us free. It really, really does. This is what liberates us from the chains and binds and spiritual strongholds in this world. So yeah, to all our relations, Ahomotako Yasin, love you guys, and yeah, trust this message will just go where it needs to go. Okay.